A well organized kitchen, one of the most underrated joys of life. I know I have worked particularly hard on mine, and it took me about 2 months to, get it to a place where I wanted it to be after we moved into this house. Hi, guys, my name is Shivani, and you are so welcome here at Happy Holy. And without any further ado, I'm just going to walk you through my kitchen. So, on the left is the fridge, and on the fridge, there is a meal plan. Since we have started meal planning, life has become so much simpler because everyone knows what's expected and it just makes things a lot smoother. There is a running list with a little pen over here, and this is the shelf where I put my fruits. It not only looks nice, but it is right in the line of your sight, so you tend to eat them frequently as well. So this shelf is basically my appliances shelf. And before that, this pull-out rack that you see is very, very handy, especially for tiny spaces. My older kitchen was really tiny and this rack was very, very helpful. So this is where the mixer jars live, and in the second shelf, there are some extra fridge organizers, some jars, and at the bottom, we keep our milk bags. So our milk comes in these bottles, and every day we kind of change them out, we leave them out, and we get new milk. So this is where the used milk bottles live, with some used oil which we are going to use once more. It's already been used once for deep frying, and I'm just going to use it once more before discarding it. So this is the newest addition to my kitchen. This is my wet grinder because I have started making idli dosa batter a lot more frequently. So, I decided to invest in this, and so far it's been a good investment. It's a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be with the stones, but yeah, the luxury of it is that you don't need to stand with it and be with it the way you need to do with a mixie. Everything can just keep grinding, and you can keep kind of, it's a very hands-free option. So not bad at all. I'm happy with it. Next to the wet grinder is my electric kettle and my mixie. The mixie, of course, gets used every day as well. And electric kettle is something that I use very, very frequently now, because hot water is much better for any kind of cooking. This is something that I got recently. This is where the kitchen towels live. This is the best way I found to air dry them, and I'm really enjoying this. Okay, now this is this I created this sort of contraption because with a in a house with kids there are always leftovers, there are always these chota things lying around. So I had a plate and I had a cloche lying around and I put it here so no mosquitoes or flies sit on them. But I really love how this arrangement turned out. I was on the verge of giving this cloche away because I had actually got it to put on top of my fruits, but the fruits would ripen very, very quickly if I would put it on there. So I was on the verge of giving it away, and this idea came to me, and I'm very pleased with the way this is working for us. On the right here is the hot pot stand. This is my 3 burner gas hob. And here, of course, at the back, there's a pipeline, so you don't have to deal with cylinders, which is always cool. This is a little space where the ghee and the oil, a little mortar and pestle, a little decorative plant, some knives, and there is a grater that lives at the back. This doesn't get used every day, but there isn't a better place that I could find for it. So all of them fit neatly into this tray, which I really like. This is a magazine holder in which I put my chopping boards. There is a chotu chopping board, and then there is a big one, and then there's a tray that lives in the middle of it. This is the water that I use for cooking or drinking. All the other water is outside near the dining area. This is a tray, and this blue thing that you see here is actually for vegetable scraping so that I don't have to open the dustbin or door again and again. So this works out nicely, and of course that's the hand wash. This area I like to keep free. The utensil holder, I put it on top of the fridge. because I like to keep my countertop as clean and clutter-free as possible. On top is the RO, and this is where I put all of my utility stuff. So on the right there's the typical holder for garlic and onions and potatoes, and I also use this space to just dry my sponges before I put them, in the utility area. So everything gets dried here, everything lives here, gets dried properly. I'm very very particular about the drying bit of it, and then I put it, inside this. So this is a cabinet, and this has all the pantry stuff, and at the back of the door there hangs a bag which goes down with my kids daily when they go to the park. And now I can show you what is inside the cabinets. So starting from the left again, this is the dry fruit shelf. This is also where the honey, the jaggery, any seeds, any nuts, all of that lives here. This also would have been a baking shelf, but in my new house, I don't have an oven yet, and I'm not sure if I want to get one as well. But this is where all the baking stuff would have lived and still lives. So you see the vanilla essence on the left. So this is essentially the dry fruit shelf. This is where we keep our snacks. On top is the main snacks basket, and at the in the lower shelf are the running snacks at any point in time. This is essentially the grains jar. So all the grains, they kind of live here. There is, all the grains and things that look like each other. They are the only ones that have a label. Like rice flour can look like maida, and besan can look like sattu. So those are the only ones that are labeled. Rest everything is very very apparent. So I didn't label everything just for the heck of it. So on top there are some roasted peanuts. There is my idli rice, and there is poha. We go through poha like it's going out of style, so we have a lot of poha. And this is where everything, all the grains live primarily. This is where some of the spices live, not all of them. I have most of the spices in the bottom jars, but on top is the ghee and the oil, and there is an herb called vavading, which I have mentioned in one of my videos. It's just used to make milk digestible. So so the running ghee and the oil is here. So this is how we change them out. When the oil is over, we kind of take it from here, put it in there, and we do the same with the ghee. This is where all the pulses live. So the lower shelf has the daily lighter pulses, including the urad dal that goes in the idli batter. And on top there are these heavier beans like rajma, chane, lobia, and all of that. This is essentially the tea cabinet, if I may. So on the right, there are these mugs. In the middle, there are bottles, and on the left, there is the tea and the sugar jar. On top, there is some coffee along with some biscuits. And on the right, there are basically these lunch boxes that keep stuff hot. So whenever, again, when we have leftovers and we want that thing to be hot, we don't want to reheat it. That's where we keep it. So this, is working very nicely in the sense that whenever you have one used utensil, you don't want to take out like the big one from top. You can just leave it here to dry and it'll drain off. So this is very handy again. This is essentially where all the glass stuff lives. So I have changed out recently the refrigerator from having plastic storage to having primarily glass storage now. And these are the plates that we use on an everyday basis. So all that stuff lives here. There are some, chutney bowls. There are some spoon holders that you see. So that's where all of that stuff lives. On top is the beverage. On top is the beverage drawer, so the alcohol lives at the back, and in the front there are juices and Coke and some other thermos stuff that we use in winters. There's a kettle that again gets used in winter. So on top is essentially the beverage cabinet. Over here is where all the steel utensils go. So this has some of the lids, but not all of them. This has the glasses, just a regular utensil holder. So over here is where the utility stuff lives that gets used on a daily basis. So there is there's a spray bottle with some homemade cleaner. There is a utensil cleaner. There is a kitchen countertop cleaner, and there's some salt in there. Okay, so this I love. This is a very small foldable dish dryer, dish drying utensil. So you basically kind of, just open it up like so, and it gets opened up, and it's very handy, especially when you have some glass utensils and you just want to put them away safely and you don't want to take out the big one. And it can just, what I love about it is that it is so, it takes such little space. You just do that and it can stand or sit wherever. Love it. So let me now show you what is inside the cabinets. So again, starting from the left, this is where I keep, these two baskets. The top basket has a lot of miscellaneous stuff. Again, like I said, I used to have an oven. I used to bake, and this has the baking stuff in case I choose to, get an oven again and start baking again. So at the bottom, there is, stuff that has appliances that I use, fairly frequently. It has a hand mixer that gets used for the eggs. It has a sandwich maker. And at the bottom, it has a food processor, which I primarily use for making hummus. This is the drawer which has, at the back, there are these three utensils that get used every day. One is for the sabji, then middle one is for the dal, and the right one is for the roti. So this is where these live. In front of that is all the strainers. In the middle is all those little lids, and at the right are more strainers, along with the utensil that you use for frying. At the right, there is a roll of kitchen towel as well. I just use one at a time, which I keep in the napkin holder near the electric kettle. This is where there are all the tawas that live, at the bottom and the left. If you can see on the right, there is again stuff that is used to make roti. At the back, there is an induction cooker, which does not get used frequently, but is there in case of emergencies. On the right, of course, in the big utensil is where the atta is kept. This is where all the handy utensils lives, the ladles and the spatulas and the potato masher and the the sieves and all of that. Those live here. This is where all the frying pans go. I have actually tried to kind of stuff some lids in, and it's clearly not working. Everything kind of keeps falling off. So, but this is where the frying pans live. This is where I keep my masala dabba and a few more spices. Now, this idea came to me very recently of having two masala dabbas. The one at the bottom is for, the North Indian masalas that get used, and at the back there is a masala dabba that has my South Indian spices, right? So the urad dal and the chana dal that's used for, tadkas, South Indian tadkas, and for, sambar and chutney, which again I make very frequently. So that's why I have two masala dabbas. These are some silicone glass which I use to, for utensils that don't have a handle, and these have been very handy as well. I got them recently and I've been using them every day. In the middle is where a majority of my spices live, and at the bottom is a few more spices with labels put on top so that I know what is what. At the back, there are these measuring cups, measuring spoons, things to close out open packets, just some utility stuff. Over here is where I keep my Tupperware and the extra glass jars. Now, a lot of this needs to be actually given away, which I will do, but this is where all the Tupperware lives as of now. This is where anything that needs to stand, anything that's a bottle, it lives here. So the oils, the ketchup, all of that lives here. As you can see, this is clearly not in a mood to stand. So this is where, all the bowls live. The mixing bowls are in the middle. The you know it's very handy because I don't have to bend, and you can just open this and it's very handy. So the mixing bowls live here with the lids. The tea pans are on the right, kadai is there, milk bowls, the iron kadais and the tadka pan are there. This drawer does not open very seamlessly. It kind of, creates noise and it's hard to open. So all the stuff that does not get used frequently at all lives here. Some storage, the larger cooker, the steamer, some dosa pans, mini idli does not get used frequently at all. So it doesn't bother me that this shelf does not open that nicely. This is the dustbin area. On the right is, so we have a wet and dry system. So one dustbin is missing right now, but that is where that. And to the right is again a lot of the utility stuff, so the garbage bags, some newspapers, some, miscellaneous utility stuff. And this is a bowl that's actually a sitz bath utensil that now my kids use to play with the water. So when we play with water, I give them some ice or water in here. So this lives in the kitchen. This is the bottle brush along with a little toothbrush. So these, everything goes in this cabinet. So this, like I showed you earlier, is my pantry almirah, and this is where, the pantry stuff goes. So this is pretty handy. At the bottom is the larger pantry area of the household stuff. In this shelf is where all the grains live. At the left, there is tea, sugar, or salt. This shelf is for the spices and the snacks. As you can see, it's overflowing because snacks are very voluminous, makhane and murmure, they're very voluminous. This is the spices. So I've created like a pull-out drawer like so, and this is where the spices go. And at the right, there are the dals. On the top to the right, there are any kind of wrapping. So the easy wraps, the foil, all of that is here. And on the left, there are these bigger bags. So when we need to carry anything, we just, this is what we use. So that is it. I hope you like the tour. I have worked pretty hard on the kitchen because I feel it's very, very important to have a kitchen that just feels right and that makes it a joy to work. So I hope you like this. And till the next time we meet, please take care and bye.